Going to get started. Yeah, there's 4 of us, so we have a quorum. If you would please read the cards, Commissioner Flores.
We have 4. We have Linda Smith, Sharon Waite, Alexandria Larson, and Captain Cat. All please come forward. There's 2 podiums.
Please state your name for the record.
Okay, Linda Smith, Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group. I bring today Broward County's Regional Solid Waste and Recycling Master Plan. Full disclosure, I'm not endorsing all of it, but it is an excellent reference book. And before you pass out because of the size, all these tabs are appendixes. So let's get to this part. Some of the appendixes you might like San Jose's Construction and Demo Recycling Ordinance, or maybe you like Plano, Texas General Recycling Provider Application Forms. We can pick and choose that. But basically, this part is centered around a transformative and aspirational goal of zero waste to landfill, like the aspirational goal of 0 traffic deaths. These are positive aspirational goals, requiring a cultural shift, like mandating seatbelts. We need to rethink how materials move through our economy. You order a new mattress, it gets delivered, the old mattress gets taken away, but don't toss it in a landfill or burn it. Repurpose it into reusable resources. We're almost there. You can help with that next last step. Back to the Broward Master Plan. Reduce waste through education, procurement, and incentives. This is not rocket science. Expand recovery and recycling. I know you all heard me speak many times about we need multifamily and commercial recycling in Palm Beach County. That needs to be the norm, not the exception. Strengthen infrastructure. Optimize what Palm Beach County already does well. Improving governance and financial stability. I know you want to do this, so let's try to regionalize our policy. West Palm here is different than Jupiter, where I live. This confuses people. Obviously, it's confusing. And try to promote environmental equity. Broward's bottom line is 75% diversion. I was very encouraged to hear just yesterday that Florida Crystals operates one of the U.S.'s largest vegetative composting facilities right here in Palm Beach County. Our yard waste is approximately 40%. That's like halfway there if we just do that. So let's try to expand that in all matters that we can. And yes, I still pull recycling out of the trash around this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Sharon Waite, 15058 75th Lane North, Loxahatchee 33470. It's been on my mind for a little while. Recently, in recent months, Governor DeSantis signed a bill doing away with fluoridation of our water. We know that it's a carcinogen. We know that. It was meant for topical usage only, not to be instilled in the body. I have it on really good authority that the PhDs that created fluoride all died of cancer not long after. Every person on that team, all dead from cancer. So has Palm Beach County complied?
Yes.
Really?
We are.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I wanted to hear it for myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, who's up next? Oops. Captain Cat. No. Andrea Larson. Alexandria, excuse me.
Like
Give me.
Egypt, like Virginia. How are you, dear? I wanted to talk about all the exits we're having, commissioners. The one thing I know about all of you, including myself, we don't know everything. And we're losing employees with knowledge, history. Because every time I call a commissioner's office, they'll ask, "Are you my commissioner?" And I'll say, "No, but you vote on stuff in my area, regardless of whether you're my commissioner or not. You all vote on everything." It isn't Ms. Baxter saying, "I want this out in Loxahatchee," and the rest of you go scratch. She has to have you vote with her. So when I call your offices, do not be shocked, because you're also my commissioner too, because you're voting on the issues here. But the thing that's worrying me, commissioners, is the loss of employees, long-time, knowledgeable employees, people that have respect for your constituents. Because I've been doing this for too long, way too long, and I am worried about us, because when you get information, you should get correct information, not innuendo or rumor, not hearsay, because that's what's happening. I got called down here last year when y'all went after Virginia, not all of you, but some, and then Virginia's out of here. Naming a road after somebody when they're alive is kind of odd. You should do it after you've passed on. That's a consensus of your constituents are like, don't they wait till we want to honor them? But I do, I want you to start looking at, because I don't know what turned this turn of events, but it's bad for you. It's bad for you not to have the history. Nothing should be a mystery to you. And no, commissioners should not be able to talk to employees. That's why you have administrators. They'll talk to the employee for you. That's what they do. That's to protect everybody, the commissioner and the employee. Because I'm seeing things, and I kind of die inside. And I've lost a lot of sleep in the last year, because quite frankly, I didn't want to come back down here. But I've been urged. It's great urgency to go down and I'll talk. And I am, because I'm worried about us. And I think you should all start worrying about yourselves, because this is something, get the history of everything, get the knowledge first before you make a decision. That's all I'm asking, because I don't make any decision before I do a lot of research. When somebody this will make you laugh. Somebody asked me for a shortcut the other night. How do you read 273 pages? Is there a shortcut?
Thank you, Ms. Larson.
There isn't. So thank you.
Captain Cat.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Very glad to see you guys here for my talking today. I want to ask first question is who love animal here? And give me a smile, big smile. Who love animals? Animals? Yeah. So today my topic is about my campaign, Open Country Horse and Feline Dog Rescue. As an animal lover, and when I young, I drove a lot of horse farms, and people have a farm animal, and I always see a lot of horses are very skinny and mistreated. I think that people don't care enough for the animal. So today I'm here to pitch my campaign to want to co-own 30-acre lands with people. They love animal, and so we can have 30-acre together somewhere in Palm Beach County together, and to offer the animal in abuse or neglect environment to have a place to retire and have a good life together. Even police retire horses, they can spend the rest of life peaceful and have a happy life. So I have a lot to talk about, but the time is short. So if you guys have any question or you're interested in my project, we can do it together. Welcome to come to me to ask more questions after I talk. Thank you for your comments and listen to me. I'm Captain Cat, founder of Open Country Horse Sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our last speaker is Jane Justice.
Hello, everyone. Not so busy today, huh? I wanted to,
Excuse me, Ms. Justice, please state your name for the record.
oh, you know my name, Jane Justice, yeah.
Thank you.
I think they just said it. Oh, you want me to verify? You want my license?
No, you're good. Please
Anyway,
proceed.
I'm here because Joel Flores and Bobby Powell, to address you. Last time that we had a meeting here, there were people here that don't want low-income housing built on top of their single-family homes right off of Forest Hill.
Ms. Justice, just so you know, you will be kind of speaking to the entire board. We don't let people just single out individual commissioners.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, there was a comment made twisting the truth. Somebody was speaking up about that, and it was implied that this gentleman and I did not think that people that rent housing are equal to the taxpayer, okay? Listen, everybody knows that taxes is what pays your salary, right? Are we running for mayor in New York City or what? This is very important, and I want to bring it up. We just recently got these in the mail, and I'm running around town. Look, I got 2 of these at my house from Wendy Link. And she's like really very extravagant with her budget, as the sheriff is. And we had told you about that before. There were a lot of things going on there. And this is very extravagant. And I asked somebody, and they said, that's so confusing. Why do you need to send 2 of these to every house? Now, I'm a realtor, and I can't afford to send anything out, okay? This is ridiculous. The taxpayer does matter, and all the money should be very carefully accounted for. I want to know where the Doge is in Palm Beach County, okay? This is terrible. That building is terrible. And, you know, maybe I could excuse this if we were getting a fair vote. But we just have a bunch of people switching seats around here in this county. It's like if you're not in the club. And it's apparent by those comments last week, and you know who made them, okay? It's apparent by the comments that the taxpayer's not in the club. And you know, I'm still waiting to find out. Why don't you put an article in the newspaper or something according to what you're going to spend on so-called experts? What are you going to do about the traffic? It's horrendous. It's horrendous. And you know this is important. The taxpayer pays the bill. Okay, so please don't say that somebody who just strolls into town and rents an apartment has the same interest to you and this, you know, in this county, because that's absolutely ridiculous. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that it for cards?
That's it.
We will resume our regular agenda, starting with 6E2.
I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
I guess I'll direct it to our administrator. Administrator, would you say that it's fair to say that individuals that own rental pay taxes in this county?
Very much so.
Thank you.
Hi. Long time no see. Well, I believe you have done your presentation.
Just a couple slides left. Quick slides.
Please proceed.
We've heard the board. We want to make sure that when we issue the next round of bonds, that we're allocating dollars to the categories that you prefer in terms of percentages. We think next round will be a lot more competitive. We're recommending the majority of the dollars to go toward for-sale housing. We can adjust these percentages however you see fit, but we want to make sure that whatever we do, it's in line with the direction from the board.
Excuse me, Mr. Brown. When you say affordable affordable housing, workforce housing, is that rental?
So the for sale housing is that, the affordable housing is rental, and the workforce is rental.
Thank you. Please proceed.
And so we're seeking direction from the board to make sure that we are in line with what you want. So I'm not sure if you want the 50% toward for sale, or Mayor, as you mentioned earlier, if we want to target a higher percentage toward for sale.
Well, the comment that I will reiterate that I started prior to our break was that we have been trying to say we want more for sale, and it doesn't seem to be sinking in. Now, I believe it was Commissioner Powell who had, forgive me, it might not have been Commissioner Powell. One of my fellow commissioners said that they thought it would be split. Half, 100 million would go to rental, 100 million would go to for sale. It might have actually been Commissioner Flores. And I like that idea, but we have now surpassed that 100 million line with everything we've already approved at this moment, and the one postponement leaving only 74 million left, if I have my math,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
remembering correctly?
You are correct.
Thank you. So the idea would be that we're then allocating the rest of the bond dollars to for sale. I would absolutely support that, but in the meantime, I'm going to allow my fellow commissioners to chime in, starting with, I don't know whose light was first, so Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. A question for you. And of the projects that have been approved that have been these rental projects, do you have a breakdown of percentage of for sale and workforce? Do we know what that has been so far?
Jeff, do you have the? Carlos.
Between for sale and workforce?
No. Of the projects that we have approved the bond dollars for, what percent are workforce and what percent are affordable of those?
We have that here. Just one moment, please, sir.
In this round?
To date.
To date.
Or if you can give me the unit numbers, either the unit numbers or the percentage, either one will work.
They're calculating that.
Okay. Do we have to get the Jeopardy music to play?
Yeah, it's going to be a moment.
Okay, we
address
could do
another
that.
question as they're
We could do a pool.
Madam Mayor, the other thing that we do need to address, because it wasn't voted on with the affordable, is the two projects under workforce, which are Lake Worth Station and Marina Annex at Judge Rogers Court. So those need to be voted on as well.
Those are two projects that weren't part of the previous.
They were part of the previous presentation, but they were not voted on because those are the workforce ones. They're part of 6E2 instead of 6E1.
Understood. And so that dollar amount of the 74 million could then even be lower?
No, those were included in the dollar amounts.
they were.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess one caveat I would also like to add to that, now that you had brought it up, is that the two that we denied without prejudice, or without prejudice, I think, should also have the ability to reapply, even if this board decides to allocate the rest of the dollars towards it, because they've already started the process towards for sale. Finishing my thought. But I believe Commissioner Flores was next.
I'm still waiting.
Do you mind if he goes while are you calculating, looking it up?
They're calculating now the numbers to separate affordable versus workforce housing rentals.
Okay, then come back to me.
Will do. Commissioner Flores.
So basically what I wanted to bring up is basically the comments you just made, Mayor, regarding the three projects that are, one that's postponed, and then the other two that are got denied and they may come back. So I would like those to have the opportunity to come back, and then whatever's remaining, we should probably focus on for sale. one of the things that I keep hearing from the business community or the partners out there is that it's extremely expensive. So whatever we do, we really have to look at this holistically to see, because, you know, on the affordable and workforce rental side of the house, gap financing is adequate because that's a mathematical problem, right? We help them get those loans. It'll be paid back at a lower interest rate. But when it comes down to for sale, it's almost a mathematical impossibility of making it with gap financing. So if we look at this program, we're going to have to be creative, and we may have to adjust some of those parameters, and we can't think that 25% of the loan would come from the county. It may have to be more. So I'm bringing this up because I think we have to, as we go down this path, which I would like to do, I would like to look at for sale housing opportunities. How do we do it, and how do we maximize the amount of units that could go on a piece of land? Because I think that's part of the problem too.
Yes, sir.
And how do we get creative? Because I think land is a scarcity and it's extremely expensive. I know a lot of these players would like to get land either from the county or from a nonprofit. So as we do this, we have to get creative, and we may have to adjust the for sale side when it comes down to the 15, 20, or 25% gap financing.
Yes, sir. And Commissioner, the board has been very generous on that particular program to where we can pretty much cover most of the construction costs for a single family or for a for sale unit. It's not held to the 10, 15, or 20% cap.
Awesome.
But to your point, it's them finding the land. The other thing is that it's all construction dollars. So it's all dollars that come back. Whereas on the rental side, you can get low-income housing tax credits, you can get some other things to help make a profit for the developer. Right. It's not as much that on the for sale side. It's if they can find the land and donate the land or get it to them at a lower price, then it helps that developer realize a profit, and I think you'll see more interest.
So what would change between, if we allocate the remaining dollars after these three projects that are sort of pending, if we allocate the remaining funds, do we project that we're actually going to get applicants wanting to do this? Because the program as it is has not fielded but one project. So do you think that we would get more applicants for the for sale, or do we have to make changes to the, yes, okay, that's what I thought.
What I would suggest is that we could come back, if that's what the board wishes to do, that we could come back after, in the next year, with a proposal on how we could incentivize the for sale in a different way. I think we need to put our heads together and come up with some recommendations that we could bring forward to the board on how to do a NOFO that would concentrate solely on for sale units.
Okay. I liked everything you said except within a year.
No, after the first of the year. is
First of
what
the
I
year,
said,
okay.
yes.
As early as possible, because I think we are all interested in putting these dollars to work.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Commissioner, to Tammy's point, what made that one for sale work is that not only did the county provide the bonds, we provided the home funds, the grant to cover the other portion. And so the county basically funded that project. That's why it worked. The for sale developer is going to tell you they need development subsidy, monies they don't have to repay.
Thank you. Do we have Commissioner Weiss's numbers?
Yes, we do.
You're recognized, Commissioner Weiss.
Go ahead with that, please.
Thank you, sir. So to your question as to out of all of the units that have been funded to date, how many were workforce, how many were affordable? Out of all the units funded to date, 70% or 1,487 were affordable, 30% or 646 units were workforce.
How many were affordable? 1,487.
487. Yes, ma'am.
And
1487.
then 647 were workforce.
646 workforce.
646, excuse me. And then 8 were for sale, I believe?
8 were for sale, and that was included, the 8 affordable for sale in the 1,487.
So roughly for $130 million, we got 1,100 units?
No, ma'am, that's 2,100.
2,000.
2,000 units, because we approved more today.
Yes, that would be from the first round of RFPs plus the projects which were approved today. The total 2,100 some odd units.
Total of what we've spent?
What we've allocated funding-wise today and the prior round,
All right, let's try this again. I apologize for interrupting, Commissioner Weiss. From the point of conception to now, of approved units, how many total units are we at?
the 1,487 plus the 646. So that's going to give you 2,133.
And for how much money?
That's for total housing bond award of 117,837.
As say,
117
that's a little low.
million.
117 million?
117,837,499. My apologies.
Okay, please proceed, Commissioner Weiss.
I appreciate that. So, and I would support having for sale units. Obviously, and as Commissioner Flores pointed out, the numbers, just providing financing is not enough for those units. It's just mathematically, it's impossible to work. One of the things, and we do have a housing trust. I mean, if you can take the cost of the land out of the development and you're just paying the construction costs, that does allow for homes to be built that can be supported with incomes that we're trying to target. I think the challenge is unless you give away the land, the math just doesn't work. I mean, you're just going to have to continue to subsidize or buy down the cost, and in which case, does it make sense to even specifically go build this? Should you just go buy it and buy down the cost? I think those are things would make sense to look at. Although we need more inventory. I mean, I guess that's the other part of the equation is we need more units in order to try and balance this out, because we certainly don't have enough. So taking existing units, buying them down doesn't get us any additional inventory, but it does provide somebody an opportunity to get into the housing market. But you guys are gonna be really challenged. I understand.
No, I understand, Commissioner. So just one point there. We have other programs that would allow us to buy existing. Housing bond requires the creation of new. So we couldn't buy existing with the housing bond, but we can use the other programs the county offers.
I think the other point I would make is on, and if we go forward on just the for sale units. I mean, this was really to target the workforce, and clearly this is not delivering that either. And trying to get those units for the people that are in that 60 to really 100% AMI to make sure that they have places to live. Although they probably would be a better or will more likely qualify on the for sale side. But whether that makes sense for them career-wise, I think it'll be that's something I guess they'll have to figure out. But you guys are going to have your work cut out for you, but I think you should, obviously related to however the housing bond has been written, to be as creative as you can and I don't think we don't take anything off the table to try and get this sorted.
Yes, sir. We'll work with Ms. Fields and Administrator Bruzo, and we'll come back with some recommendations.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. One of the questions, we were just at a groundbreaking for Villas of Solano and Riviera Beach. I know they use funds. I know it wasn't housing bond funds. What program did they use? And they're doing townhomes. And what other subsidies were available for that? And I guess the question I would have also is, what's the likelihood of enticing developers to do townhome type developments that would be for sale, fee simple?
I think we can definitely share that and encourage that, Commissioner. The program that they used was the Home Investment Partnership Program through HUD's Community Housing Development Organization Strategy. That is what the CLT did for the bond. They used both bond and they used home, and that one was strictly just home. 2 years of home competitive funding, and that's how they did the for sale there.
Thank you for that. And one of the challenges that, as I sit on the Coalition of Affordable Housing Board, that we've run into when we talk to county staff is the lack of available land. And our board has been pushing for any piece of land that is in Palm Beach County that's available to be made for housing as a priority. But we do know that there are restrictions and there are different departments and entities that are privy to certain pieces of land. But I did want to point out that we have been looking at that in detail as a board, and we've consistently talked to Carlos Serrano as well as Mr. Jonathan Brown with regard to making that happen. So thank y'all for that.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to piggyback on the current conversation, townhomes I definitely agree with, but I wanted to know also about condos, because I mean, condos construction is pretty similar to apartment construction. We know what the going rate is on all of this. Condos are allowed in the bond for ownership, right? And again, I know that there's kind of the notion people, single family homes, that's home ownership, but really ownership is about building equity. So if we are getting people into something that they own and that, they're not paying rent on eventually when they want to move, if they choose to move, that they're getting a return on their investment. I just wanted to know, how would the condo market be as a part of this if we wanted to encourage that? Because I'm not saying the construction is exactly the same, but it's got to be pretty similar to apartment buildings. With the density, we could get a lot more home ownership and at an affordable rate. For us to build a home, I would say bare bones is going to be $500,000, and we probably can only sell them for $350,000 to really get the sweet spot of what we're looking at. So it's a loss. But I was crunching the numbers on some of these, and if those condos, if they were the right size and we were selling those for around that, some of these projects would break even as they are right now with these numbers. And again, I don't know the details on these numbers, for how the conversion rate would work for a condo, but rentals versus condos. Can you speak to that a little bit?
We can absolutely encourage developers, and we do now. We talk about the single families, the townhomes, and the condos as opportunities for sale housing. When we take a look at some of the projects here, though, it would totally restructure the deal, because a lot of the low-income housing tax credits and things that they received, or if they're receiving vouchers, those things go away because it's not for a for sale unit. And so you would see the request to the county increase, and then hopefully they'll have enough to cover their debt service on the project, because there'll probably be other amenities that the housing bond could not cover on a condo.
Well, as far as if it's for sale, though, we get paid back quicker. Right?
Oh, yes, ma'am. 3 years.
So I think, and this board, because we do care about ownership, I think we understand that maybe the ask would be a little bit higher, but the payback would also come a number of years faster, because when they actually sell it, that's when we get our money back. So we could cycle through this money 3 or 4 times before we get some of this rental money back. And we're also getting ownership out of it. So I think, I would be comfortable raising that threshold of what we would be loaning. This is a loan. I mean, we're lenders at this point. That's what this is. It's a housing bond loan. So I would be comfortable with us raising the amount for that if it's for ownership, for 2 reasons. One, it's for ownership, but 2, because the money comes right back. As soon as those things are sold, we do get it, right?
Yes, ma'am. 3, as soon as it's sold, we get our monies back per unit.
And then we could do this all over again in
Yes, ma'am.
a much quicker time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for me, I like the numbers. The last question I had was, you have these percentages with the 50% remaining. I wanted to know, because there's one that has been postponed and 2 recommended for denial. What does that because if we do redo the RFP, it does have to be an open, we can't just reopen it for these 3 projects, right? We have to reopen it for open.
Attorney Kaufman, would you answer that, please?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Because 2 projects, 1 was postponed, but 2 were denied without prejudice, so they
Right.
can come back. If we reopen the RFP, we have to have a certain dollar amount that allows for a competitive bid process, not just for those 3 projects. Is that correct?
Yes, it would be a competitive bid for whoever was qualified under the RFP terms.
May I ask? So if we reopen the RFP, we could say we're only going to do it one more time, right, under the current terms if we wanted to allow them to
Sure.
reapply.
Right.
And then going forward, we would say if you're in favor of it, everything else would be for sale.
And that was my question. If we would have to put, in the next RFP, we would put a fixed dollar amount that's open, and we can't, I'm just saying we have to be careful not to structure the reopening of the RFP for these 3 projects. Is that correct?
We have one other alternative, and that is that we have the HIP program, the housing incentive, which is ad valorem dollars. It's not the bond dollars, but that is another way that we could potentially address the 2 projects that were denied, rather than going back through an RFP process, because they would have already qualified by going through a competitive process, which is what the board established as a standard for the HIP, but it didn't meet all of the bond criteria. So that would be another alternative, is to be able to use some of the HIP funds for the 2 outstanding projects if they can.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out where should we set our parameters for making sure we can capture these ones that we denied for future, not a hard denial, and then move the rest of that money, go ahead and say the rest of this is for sale product.
Yes.
So, because we're dealing with the housing bond money, so I just wanted, just on the bond money, where should we put those parameters for the next round to capture the 2, perhaps capture the 2, or open it to whatever's left, and then say, developer world, the rest of this is for sale.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor. I believe the administrator would like to chime in on this.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to briefly expand upon Commissioner Flores' question, and of course, bring notice to the board, in the sense that oftentimes, and I love the conversation about ownership, renters, as those property values on commercial and rental properties go up, the cost of the property tax almost always gets transferred on to the renter, so their rents go up. As you are talking about ownership, these are generally locked in rates, or in a system where it does not go up nearly as high as renters. So renters are truly paying the increased property taxes for living in those dwellings. And if you're talking about your constituents' dollars coming out of their pocket, it comes out of quicker renters, generally more than any house ownership. And I believe Commissioner Weiss, just addressing the chairman of the House Committee on Property Taxes, actually gave us some statistics just in Palm Beach County in the last 5 years. I think it went up from 1,700 to 2,700 as a median. So ownership, as I listen to you all on the board, is definitely the way to go to keep money in the pocket of your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. Back to Vice Mayor Woodward, though, had a question specifically. So, and I'm going to try to summarize this. So we can say, let's allow for one more RFP process is one option, and then just say whatever's left over, not adding a dollar amount to it, but whatever's left over after that round should all be directed towards for sale. Is that one option, Attorney Kaufman?
That is certainly one option.
Okay, and then there was another option that you were presenting, Tammy, that we could use the Housing Initiative Fund, which is a whole nother pot of dollars, but I believe we only fund that for roughly how much every year?
I think we were 7.5, and I think the board reduced that by half last year. So for this current year. So
7.5 million.
And we have 2 projects currently working
But the 2
through.
projects we just denied without prejudice are well above that amount. So
Yes.
how is that an option?
Again, it'll use the dollars we have available, but it becomes an option if the board wants to consider that.
That,
Madam
If I,
the balance in the.
Madam Mayor, I just want to be clear that since they were denied under the RFP, they have to compete under a new RFP. The source of funding is whatever the, department and the board agrees, but it's still a new RFP process.
So am I correct in then saying the cleanest way to do this is allow them to reapply through an RFP, the same process which they just did, but now better understanding the process, and then say going forward from there, we would like to allocate the rest of the remaining balance towards for sale?
Yes, ma'am. Can I, just a
Please.
comment? So you saw the 2 that are being denied today. Just to note that there were some that were deemed non-responsive that have come before you as well, that were denied because of technicalities on their proposals. I'm not sure if we're limiting to just these 2 today or any of the other non-responsive proposals, or are we opening it up to any developer?
I'm going to ask Vice Mayor Woodward, would you be opposed to just opening up one more round of applications or only I don't think we can legally allow, or we can limit who is allowed to apply.
No, we cannot.
Right, so it would be to whoever applies and then up to us to decide.
Yes, ma'am.
that's why I'm asking, I think we should do one more round. However, knowing that this is going to be the last round, knowing that there were a number of applicants that actually didn't make it to us because of the technicalities will be coming, I think it behooves us to go ahead and put a dollar amount saying this, what are we talking, 75, where are we?
Roughly
74.
Yes.
74 million. I would like to go ahead and put a protective barrier around a chunk of that money and say that it has to be for sale product. And then whatever is left between, and
Do you
there,
have a dollar amount in mind?
I like the 50%,
50% of what?
50% of what's left, to protect that for sale.
But that's
However,
less than-
this is also money that is allocated. There are some projects, just like before, did not make it through underwriting. And there are projects right now that may not make it through underwriting. So just because the money is allocated does not mean it's spent. How much of what we have pulled is for real gone, not allocated, it made it through underwriting, has come back to this board, is off the books completely? How much of that has happened?
confirming,
Total awarded to projects that have received your final approval, 47 million.
Could you guys put this slide up?
yes, sir.
Yes. So even though we're have allocated a much larger number, I would like to go ahead and say, protect at least 50% of what has not been allocated for sale, because we have, 9 projects that we're about to send to underwriting today. There's a strong chance at least a few of these won't make it past underwriting and will not get the funding. And then that money could be cycled back through for more rental properties, if that's what the board decides.
How would you feel about putting just 50 million aside instead of 50% of what's left?
I would love that. 50 million is good for me. I was being conservative with half. I like 50 million.
At least, okay, thank you. Next, Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So ideally, I would like the 50 million, because I feel like 1 or 2 projects may not get through underwriting. However, for the next round, maybe we started at 40, because if you look at the very last line, the balance remaining, if all 11 projects were approved, the true remaining balance would be 44,426,000. We know that there are 3 projects that are pending. There might be the possibility of another one coming through as well in the next round. So I would say divide it in half, do 40 for the next round of RFPs, do 40 and then whatever money does not go through for underwriting goes into that pool of for sale. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. Because it
Hold
would
on, to clarify, you want to protect 40 million,
protect 40 million off the top right now.
definitely 40 million, and then whatever's left over after the next round
And
goes into it?
whatever is remaining from now on, that doesn't go through underwriting, goes into the pool for sale. So it could potentially be more than 50.
Are you finished?
I'm done.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The 8 units that were constructed using housing bond funds, what was the cost that we contributed? Does anyone know?
We put in 1.48 million in bond money, and then we had about 2.5 million in Chodo.
Okay. The question I would have is, if we put in the filters that would allow for the remaining funds or the 40 million to be allocated specifically for sale units, and we come to find that developers are not able to take advantage of it after, and this would be a bridge that we would have to cross. Looking at a projection, what then do we do? What's the plan to pivot or shift if we find that developers are not applying for those funds because the cost of constructing or the limits of finding property or the supplemental requirements of funding are not there? How do we adjust? Would that come back to us as a board to look at and say?
Clarify your question. You're asking that if we leave all that money to for sale and nobody is applying for it, how do we adjust?
Correct.
I think, may I? You guys are the experts, but I'll tell you, in the history, we usually have community partners. I mean, Michelle Jacobs was here earlier, Jack Weir, and they come to us with amazing ideas on how to make it more user-friendly for builders to want to apply to those dollars. And do you not work with them closely?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think it would be an adjustment, again, of a policy, but we had talked about earlier them coming back to us with some ideas of a for sale product that would be advantageous for people to want to apply for. And I think if it's still not, then we would readjust and change it again to make it more advantageous. If you had ideas, I'd love to hear them.
No, well, as we talked about, one of the challenges is land here in Palm Beach County. The legislature passed the, what do they call it, Live Local, with the allowance of putting homes in industrial areas and civic areas, but even that has not spun off the amount of affordable units that we potentially thought it could. So it's for us, I guess it's a trial and error thing to kind of see what works and continue working. I was told by the school board member that Orlando is doing something pretty significant, so I'll look into that, but they may have different, we're 67 counties, so all of us have, Orange County has a lot different issues than we do, so I'll take a look and let you know.
Madam Mayor, what I'd propose is that we do come back with a modified RFP for just the for sale after the first of the year, not in a year, but after the first of the year. And we might need to include some bundling options with both bond dollars and some of the other dollars or scattered sites, and we'd bring that back to you.
And please bring that back to us right after the first of the year. Maybe that next workshop would be a great time. But very specifically, please work with the people in the community, again, with Economic Council members, with Jack Weir, with anyone who you think could give really good input to what would make people want to apply and help it be more advantageous for them. It would be very helpful.
Mayor, do you mind if we hold that meeting before we come back to you? Meet with the industry partners? Let's
hope
see.
so.
Okay, all right.
Before you bring ideas
So
to us,
hopefully we
please
can make
speak
the
to them.
January workshop. We'll try to get something in there.
That would be amazing.
Okay.
Commissioner Sachs.
What you said, Mayor, was exactly what I've been wanting to say, and I think you're right on point. Not only will you meet with them, but have them give us an analysis. I mean, you've got 7 folks here, and we got great ideas, but we're not experts in housing and, and this bond money. So let's find out what other counties do, and let's find out what the experts in this county, whom we appointed to these boards, the Economic Council and the other, have them, of course you're going to meet with them, but then have them submit to us their recommendations, their technical recommendations, professional recommendations on these issues. Excellent point. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I believe direction is clear. We want to, the minimum number I heard was 40 million. I think some of us would prefer to get closer. I liked Commissioner Flores' idea of at a minimum of 40 million. And then anything left over from the next round of RFPs, which should be the last round of rentals, would then get added towards the for sale dollars. Any questions?
No questions on that part.
And we look forward to
Mayor.
hearing your ideas on how to make our for sale more advantageous for people to want to apply for.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
We do need to go back and approve 6E2, those 2 items.
Absolutely. I will entertain a motion to approve 6E2. Is there A and B?
Yes. I got it.
These are 2 more projects that are workforce, not affordable housing. I have a first from Commissioner Weiss. I have a second from Commissioner Flores. All in favor?
We got comment cards. Sorry.
And before we vote, we will hear comments.
I have Michelle Jacobs, and I have,
She already spoke.
she
And does
also
not-
submitted for 6E2, and then Terry Booty.
Is there Terry here? Please come to the mic. Or just waving in support. Good. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 6-0.
And Mayor, just one point that we wanted to make the board aware of as it relates to projects in general, and Carlos will share that.
Yes, with existing projects from the first round of bond funding that have received final approval, we've closed and broken ground on a number of those. You've attended some ribbon cuttings. There are a handful of additional projects, though, that have encountered delays due to the federal shutdown. As you're all aware, federal government was closed for 43 days. These projects involve federal funding sources, whether Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and due to both the shutdown and the reduced levels of staffing in those federal agencies, there's 4 projects which are experiencing some delays in closing and getting a shovel in the ground, and we're going to need to extend their time frame for getting a shovel in the ground up to 120 days. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that before we granted those extensions.
Are you is there something, are you saying it's a good thing, a bad thing? Or are you asking for us to weigh in on something?
It's a good thing. We want to make you aware, because one of the things that the board has always shared is that we need to get units tomorrow. And so we wanted to let you
yesterday.
know the impact that the shutdown and the reduction of federal staff has caused on our federal projects, as federally funded projects, including USDA funded projects, our Belle Glade Housing Authority. We're seeing delays on those closings, which are inevitably, we're going to have to extend those agreements out at least 4 months to get them going.
But we are going to continue working with them and moving forward. Thank you.
Yes.
Next up, we have 6E3. Some more projects. We have Peace Village.
Peace Village is one of the projects that we already did an approval under the affordable bond. This is just a request for approval of impact fee assistance in the amount of $332,000 for Peace Village.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve 6E3, A, B, C, D, and E. I have a first by Commissioner Flores, a second by Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Of course. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Just Jonathan and Carlos, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't wear your ugly ties today.
Our
Just,
Jeff Bolton time.
Yesterday only.
But they were great.
United Way fundraiser.
Next up, we have Palm Tran. I will entertain a motion for 6F1A and B, unless somebody would like.
I would like a brief presentation, please.
Yep.
Okay.
We can do a brief presentation.
We are setting the timer for 2 minutes, Todd.
You got it. So real quickly, we just want to go over our existing Palm Tran bus link program that we have, and then we're going to talk about some changes that we're proposing for the program itself. On the map you have right here is just an overview of the zones that we have in place. There's 3 of them today, one in the East Central that encompasses 5 municipalities, one out west in Royal Palm and one south in Boca Raton. We've got predetermined points. You can ride 4 times a day, and it's $8 a ride. This shows you what our ridership has been. So obviously we've built it up, over 5,000 unique riders that we have, over 180, close to 200,000 trips that we have in total. This tells you some of the success of stories, and in some cases too much success. That East Central zone where we budgeted much less for that under this pilot has really exploded. And you can see the number of trips there, about 175,000 as compared to 16,600 and 6,600 in the other 2 zones. So that got us to thinking a little bit about how we can be more sustainable with this and what kinds of changes can we bring back to the board to sustain this pilot program. So the recommendations for Boca Raton are really that we keep the Boca one. It's working really well down there. It's a reasonable amount of trips that we have. The zone is working very well in that connectivity. The East Central one has got some different recommendations, and because of the size of that zone, what we found is people were utilizing this service to just do round trips with and not really linking them up to some of their fixed route. So what we propose doing in this is bringing these total zone into 3 separate zones, so it's much more connectivity to the fixed route, while at the same time offering a $5 voucher and then up to 2 trips a day in order for them to utilize that. And we think that that will closer align it to our fixed route that we have. The Royal Palm Beach recommendation that we have, and this is what the existing zone looks like today, we want to expand this slightly out closer to the Westlake area, and this will go along Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, 60th Street, and then will allow for us to kind of have a little more connectivity with some of the individuals in the commercial corridor in that area to the fixed route. So the recommendation that we're asking for in this final slide is to allow us to continue to provide this service. We'd like to come back again midway through it to share with you some of the details related to these changes, but to adopt this with the $5 vouchers, the limitation on the rides, and then the expansion and the changes on the 2 particular zones that we mentioned.
Todd?
Yes, ma'am.
Your time's up. I'm just kidding. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Todd, statistically, I see Boca Raton, Royal Palm Beach, the acreage, and we can kind of see what those areas are. And then we see East Central. This area, East Central, is encompassing all of what?
So the East Central area, and if I bring it back to the beginning of the presentation, you'll see, the East Central area is the 5 municipalities that you see in the breakout in the dotted line. So West Palm, Riviera Gardens, North Palm, Mangonia Park, and who am I missing on the bottom down there? Lake Park.
Perfect.
So that's where we're encompassed in those municipalities today. Really, because of the size of that, it encouraged people to just utilize this more, and there's a lot of fixed route opportunities within that zone. So when we consolidated some of the fixed route to create this, what happened was instead of folks linking up to some of their fixed routes to do continuations, just did these throughout that zone. And so it just became sort of a concierge service for them that they were utilizing over and over again. And those unique riders were using them at least 4 times a day in some of those cases. So we're trying to get that under control a little bit, make it so that we can still utilize the service, reach a lot of those folks, but do a better job in helping them plan those trips out over the course of their day and their week.
Thank you. With that, I see there's an outlier. Riviera Beach seems to be the outlier. Are these done by municipal boundaries, zip codes or addresses of the individuals who are utilizing the service. Mr. Maldonado.
You might introduce yourself. Am I on? Press that button.
You are now.
Hi, good afternoon, Vice Mayor, Mayor, Board of County Commissioners. My name's Ira Brewster. I'm the Director of Transit Planning at PalmTran, and it would be based on trip location. So the good thing about Uber is they gave us a lot of data with this, so we got to see a lot of the origin and destinations of those trips. So it would be in the municipal boundaries.
Thank you for that. Okay, that was my issue. And you put up slide number 5 that showed that when you talk about East Central, I just wanted to make sure we're not skipping over and we get a little bit of the detail. Slide 5, can you go back to that? Where we're talking about East Central? Was that slide 5? That showed Palm Beach Gardens, Riviera Beach. Here we go. And then one of the things that's not pointed out here, maybe it is, okay, there it is. Completed trips, right? If you look at the chart that says performance metrics, Boca Raton, East Central, Royal Palm Beach, overall, where you see East Central under completed trips, it shows 175,271 total with 4,430 unique riders, but it doesn't break down the number of individuals in each of those areas of East Central. But when you look at this map in East Central, the logos of the municipalities, West Palm Beach is 8%, which is very low. For West Palm Beach. Riviera Beach is 48.3%, 14.9% for Palm Beach Gardens, 3.1. I can't read that. Oh, and that's North Palm Beach. I can see the logo. And I see
Angonia Park.
Angonia Park.
Lake Park.
And Lake Park. With that, it would be interesting. I see the chart. The chart shows a lot, and we see the percentages. And maybe we can talk about this later, but the number of trips that are encompassed within those areas. I see the total, but I guess I could break it down if I calculated that. Don't worry about it. I can do that.
We can break those down for you a little bit more if you want and kind of share that, a deeper dive in that zone. But we think what we propose is going to help us with the 3 different zones that encompass that major one that will allow for more succinct trips to get folks and get those linkages up to those fixed routes, which is what we're intended to do. It's a little different in some of the other zones because the opportunities for fixed route, for example, out west, are not as great as we have on the eastern corridor. Okay. And that's why in the western one, we try to expand it a little bit more to capture some of the new growth that we're seeing, and particularly on those commercial corridors that surround Westlake, where there's a lot of growth that's happening and a lot of businesses asking for help with their workforce to get to and from those locations. Okay. So that's why we're trying to be a little bit different in that particular area and reach where they have no transit options at all.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Powell, before we move on to the next commissioner, staff is requesting that we reduce the number of daily trips from 4 to 2, and we reduce the voucher amount from $8 to $5. Now, one of my pet peeves with PalmTran has always been, I want more people to use it. If we're spending all these dollars on PalmTran, we're trying to get in more users. Do you believe that this would reduce the amount of users if we implement those 2 asks?
So I think it may be helpful if these riders would then be shifted to fixed routes. Am I correct? And the funds that we allocate to them would still be, it's still a probability of utilizing those funds, but it becomes an educational program for us to make sure that people are aware of the fixed routes. And the challenge with PalmTran is sometimes the timing. Are we also trying to make sure people understand the schedules? And the East Central region would probably be more useful. I tried to plan out a PalmTran trip once or twice, and I just converted to another alternative. Would that be helpful if they're able to utilize the 2 trips, but still have access to the fixed route in a manner that makes it efficient?
Madam Mayor,
let the rest of the board speak to this, but I will tell you, as somebody who has small children and a lot of it is a lot more cumbersome to get into The first and last mile, I've never been a huge fan on. You get into a car to go to a bus, to get onto the bus, to then go to another location, to get into a car. I don't feel that that is what a lot of people would wish to do. That's very inconvenient. And for the amount of money we're spending on Palm Trend, and everyone knows this has been an issue for me, I mean, we could literally hire limos at this point. It is way too much money. Way too much money. That's my personal thought, and I apologize. I'm going to let, it was next was Commissioner Flores, then Commissioner Woodward, and then Commissioner Weiss.
Todd, Ivan. So how were these 3 areas initially selected?
They were initially selected for a couple of reasons. I mean, first and foremost, we had underperforming fixed routes that are in those areas. And so what we did was we consolidated those fixed routes. So we saved the money to pay for this by consolidating fixed routes and then reinvested that into these specific pilot areas where we thought that we could create potentially some better connectivity and try out a new service. And out west was an area where we just had a lack of transit options. Down in the south end of the county, we were trying to look at sort of a desert area that we could there, and then obviously in that central to north part, trying to align some of the routes to the mayor's point. You know, the one thing that creates frequency or creates ridership is when you have frequency. So it's like when you go to a train in a very populated area and you don't have to think about when the train's coming, you just show up and you know it's going to be there. So we tried to create more frequency in those areas to align that. So that was the thought, and then we were able to reinvest those dollars in to pay for this program.
And so it sounds to me like you guys were looking for efficiency in areas that it was inefficient.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
When you guys utilize the word East Central, that confuses the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Because I consider myself to be the central part of the county, but yet you're considering West Palm and the northern part of West Palm all the way to Jupiter, right?
Yes.
That to me is more like the north of the county. That's just my 2 cents.
Understood. And we tried to change that name, Madam Mayor, because it was originally called the Riviera Beach Zone. And then we expanded it out with that name to capture those other municipalities that were participating, because it was the thought that, well, it's just for Riviera Beach, but no, we actually had 6 municipalities in that zone.
Go to the next slide, please.
Sorry.
Is this the area?
No, the next one.
No, that's
One more.
Boca area.
This is the East Central area?
There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
So that's just my 2 cents on that particular
Yep.
East Central.
We can kind of take that back to the marketing team and dig in a little deeper on that if you want
You
us
know,
to.
and not to be particular, but Wellington is the center. If you
I agree.
like.
I agree. That's the Western Central. And then regarding the grant pre-authorization that you're seeking for, I'm assuming we're asking or we're looking for a grant?
A clarification on that. We're not seeking a pre-authorization from you. Those are examples that we wanted to share with you of how we were aggressively pursuing grants and going after opportunities to increase frequency in areas. So we'll be bringing those back to the BCC. But we wanted to show that in the 4 different areas, and particularly the one out west in the acreage area is one that we've been working with out west. We have some pending requests in the legislature to be able to expand some of that service. So those are the kinds of things we wanted to show that we were proactively trying to do to increase that frequency to make it more attractive to riders.
And just to clarify, because this doesn't really cover my district, but it's because my district has one of the higher ridership of bus Palm Trans, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. And by the way, the part that I was talking about, it's item B, which is a delegation of authority to the administrator to be able to continue to seek these type of grants, correct?
Yeah, so that allows us to approve grant applications geared towards enhancing that east-west piece. Correct.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. To start with, and just because I serve on the Tri-Rail Board, we did something similar with the first last mile. It's important that, and it was important for us, that we actually have these trips including a train ticket, because ridership is how we get formula funds. Right. Palm Trans is similar to that. So if we are funding this program and it is actually replacing bus trips, we are costing ourselves formula funds. Is that correct?
Mayor, that is a potential possibility, and that's part of the reason why we've realigned that East Central Zone, soon to be named something else. Because what we think that we can do by breaking those down into those 3 zones is align it more closely to encourage that connectivity with fixed route, which will then allow us to do the drawdowns on the federal dollars per trip in order to do that. It was just, there was too much passage over multiple municipalities in that zone for some of those trips, and therefore we thought that this would create that connectivity better, which would do exactly what you're talking about. We wanted to stop because we did contemplate whether we would link that to some of those Palm Trend trips, but for this continuation of the pilot, we were hoping that maybe we could try this rezoning and then come back within the next 6 months or so to share data with you to see if that's working. If it's not, that would be, I think, a next recommendation.
And this was just, because in my conversations yesterday, I thought the rest of the board should know that we did discuss making sure that it was linked to a bus trip. I understand you want to give this a try first, and I'm comfortable, you coming back in 6 months to see how these changes will help with that. But I think another thing that is proven is perhaps this is an area where we need to reinvest in those fixed routes.
Yeah.
Because the reason that any of this exists, one, is to ease congestion. And if we are replacing people riding a bus with that many times Ubers and Lyfts, we're contributing to the problem. And this is an area that already can't handle the congestion that exists. So this is an important next 6 months for this program, because what we need is people to use this to get onto a bus that is, those buses replace a number of cars, and it eases congestion in all of these roads in these municipalities where we have a lot of commerce. We drive through this area ourselves to get to this building.
Yep.
If a chunk of those cars were replaced with a single bus, it would help all of us. And if that's what we're going to be using these monies to invest in, that's the goal, is easing congestion and also offering a very affordable way for people to get around without having to use their cars. We need frequency for that. The route in the south that that was the one in my district, it was once an hour. If somebody missed that bus, they're calling an Uber anyway. It's just that we didn't truly have transit on those routes, because once an hour bus that's not something most people can count on. So I'm happy to see what's working there. And in the other one, it seems like that was the right choice for those 2 zones.
Yeah.
This one, pay attention. I look forward to the data that comes from this in 6 months. I like the changes that you've put forward. But again, you're showing 86.6 occur in an area with existing fixed route service. Is this something where, when you come back to us, maybe we need to add the frequency so that it makes sense for people, that they don't have to manage a schedule that's kind of crazy. They know every 15 minutes another bus will be coming. I can count on that, even if I miss it. So that's what I hope for you to be able to bring to us with this information, and really with any of our routes. I know Commissioner Flores' district, the high usage, we also have a pretty good frequency there. So those 2 things it matters, but you also kind of have to have proof of ridership. And I think this zone, we've got proof of ridership. It's a lot of numbers for people to want to use this. So how do we convert that into this? So thank you for these changes, and I look forward to the update in 6 months.
And Vice Mayor, if I could, and I agree with everything that you said. And one of the reasons that we're looking into breaking this zone up is because it does have the ample fixed route coverage. So what we have seen is that these new riders are just that, new riders, which is why we want to break them up and push them towards the fixed route so it can add to that additional service. Because with adding BusLink, we have not seen a decline to the fixed routes in that area. So we have 20-minute frequency on the 1, the Route 3 has 20-minute frequency, 33 is at 30 minutes. So they do have better frequency in this area, which is something we took into consideration when we eliminated that Route 21. We knew we had the ample coverage to sustain, and then added BusLink as that first last mile connector. So we'll definitely look forward to bringing you back that data.
Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, when you look at population density, and that's the piece that's missing from all of this analysis, was we don't have that population density, and that's that is key, I think, to a lot of what we're seeing here. But it also, I think, the idea that this was originally to replace or to assist with replacing some of those fixed routes, right? To get I think the assumption was that people needed to get to another fixed route if we took one away. But that's not what happened. They just used the service because apparently they were not taking long trips. They were taking relatively short trips, and once you took away that, then they used the Uber in its place. So I really do think it behooves us to look back at the fixed routes, and in some of these areas where the density supports it. I mean, obviously, when we're looking out west, and I mean, the density just isn't there. Correct. But when you look at this corridor up and down, the Route 1 corridor and within a couple of miles east and west of it, there's density to support real transit.
Yep.
We were trying to put real transit into areas that every theory and study shows there's not enough riders to support it. So I think, and trying to provide, and I think Vice Mayor's comment, I mean, all we've done is added more traffic to already congested roadways by doing what we did. The intention was good, but once we saw the reality of what's happened. So I think and I do like the idea of breaking up the zone. Somebody had asked me, why West Palm was relatively low compared to Riviera Beach. Well, if you think about it, what do you have in West Palm Beach?
You have the intermodal.
You have the intermodal. No, not the circulators. No, most people don't use the circulators. Right. They take too long, and that's not what happens. It's the intermodal center. It's the trains, right, that you have here that you don't have anywhere else. And so people are able to use this in a way to get to the intermodal. I would be curious as what those numbers look like. How many people are going to, the intermodal? How many are going to the Bright Line? How many are using it to make those connections, or are they just using it to go to the grocery store? Which is, of course, in the northwest neighborhoods in West Palm, we do have the circulators that will take them to the grocery store. So, anyways, obviously the costs have got to be brought under control because we can't afford to continue this at this rate. I mean, you guys clearly came with that. So.
And Mayor, if I just may, real quick, Commissioner, if you see on the maps where you have these clusters of yellow and reds, those are where you have clusters of rides that come and pick up and those kinds of things. So you can see where some of those hotter spots are that are on that map.
Yeah, I saw that.
We can break that data down very, to the ride level for you and get you some more information back on that.
Are you finished, Commissioner Weiss? I was just going to recognize Commissioner Powell.
Oh, one. I'm okay with the proposed changes, but I think you just need to dig deeper into this, because I still don't think we're still not really addressing what the solution needs to be. I think this is a stopgap to try and stop. I hate to say it, stop the bleeding, the financial bleeding that we have going on, but I don't think this is going to solve it.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was thinking when Commissioner Weiss just said what he said with regard to the circulators and the round trips, in the city of West Palm, they have the circuit and they have Rose Trolley. And perhaps, I don't know, Todd, if there's been any exploration of perhaps looking at Rose Trolley to help supplement, to reduce some of those costs here in that East Central region. If those conversations may be had, would it make a difference? How could that be impactful in terms of, because you said they're using these trips 4 trips to do their round trip. Maybe the mayor talked about the, what do you call it, the last mile? First and last mile. Maybe Rose Trolley could be helpful there.
Madam Mayor, we have had, Commissioner, some pretty extensive conversations with the city of West Palm Beach, and particularly about their future and what they're looking at. And actually, some of what they're trying to do is get away more from those kinds of circulators and more to a fixed route system that we have. So they've actually put out RFPs for service coming back that focus and target more on creating an inside the city fixed route as opposed to what you've been seeing, which are more of these mobility on demand pieces. So, you know, we're exploring that too through the master plan, and we'll hopefully get more data from that as we bring that master plan back to you as well.
So I had a first from Commissioner Flores and a second from Commissioner Sacks, but she had to leave us, unfortunately. Would anyone else like? Vice Mayor Woodward will be the new second. All in favor of 6F, 1A, and B, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivan. Thanks, Sarah.
Moving on to 6G1, Public Safety. You're recognized, Commissioner Flores.
I would like to make the motion to approve.
I have a first from Commissioner Flores, a second from Commissioner Weiss. Vice Mayor Woodward.
Just one comment. I do appreciate the work that you've done for this. My only question would be, how do we do this with other boards? Because I think the change here would be valuable to a number of our other boards that we have that, especially in regards to Sunshine, because I know some of these boards are not functioning the way we maybe intended to put them together. I think of the Veteran Services Board that we put together. I would just like to know how could you look at all the boards we have and make some recommendations for us to do a very similar change to those boards? And I don't know who's in charge of that. I'm looking at Mr. Our Administrator.
Yeah.
Is that direction without objection?
I would like for, yes, that to be direction.
We can look at other boards and see what the opportunities that might exist there for you.
Okay.
So.
She got the thumbs up. We're ready.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And Madam Mayor, just so you know, I know that our public defender has been with us most of the day here to support this item, so we appreciate him being here as well. And also our District Secretary of Juvenile Justice, who's with us as well, so thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have a card?
Alexander Larson.
You do?
I just have a couple of concerns, Commissioner, because there was a time about a year or 2 years ago when they said, oh, there are some boards that need to be sunshine, they sunset it. That's what they say, well, sunset, get rid of it. With the task force, especially with public safety, with all the crap that's going on, and I mean every day you turn on your computer, someone's been shot, someone's been something, and I think we need as much oversight as possible. I really think you need triple oversight due to the fact of what I spoke about earlier. We need things looked at. You guys are asking for bodyguards. And now we want to not have oversight over the reentry system. That's the thing I'm concerned about, because not everyone that comes back into society has a good heart. Some of them, have, I don't even know what to call it. They have a vendetta, an agenda when they come out of jails and different things. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you should go to look at all of your boards, like you said. That's a really good idea, and then see which ones are good ones and which ones are bad ones. But like I said, the reason I'm here is because it's requested by your constituents. It really is. And I'm worried about us, and I do, when it's a reentry program, I think you need a lot of oversight, because every day the world is getting a little bit more uglier and a little bit more tougher. And hopefully you'll take that into consideration, because that's what I see. I might be wrong, but I'm usually not, and you know it. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. And Stephanie, would you like to comment on, I believe this wasn't avoiding oversight, this was making the board function more properly with their ability to work together to accomplish common goals. So, and Commissioner Powell would also like a very brief presentation. So if you could cover that while doing it, I would greatly appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you. So just to kind of open up, we are not getting rid of the task force. It's just going to be more of a community board rather than a board under the county commissioners. And the reason they want to dissolve it as a reentry task force under the Board of County Commissioners is because much of the work that's being done is with these partners that are on the board, and they can't have those conversations outside of the board. So they are the providers of these services in the community, the members of this board. So it's very important that they have these conversations outside of the board meetings. So just really quickly, this all started back in 2008. The Public Defender's Office spearheaded reentry here in Palm Beach County. It was actually by our former Public Defender, Carrie Howitt, and I believe Dan Eisinger is continuing that effort and making sure that all of our clients that we serve are provided those wraparound services. It was then transferred to Public Safety back in 2015, and we've been managing that program since, and it was created by resolution 2017 to formalize it as a task force. So again, the mission is really to increase public safety, decrease victimization, reduce recidivism rates, and we, again, coordinate resources, ensure we maintain partnerships, evaluate opportunities, and sustain our reentry services here in Palm Beach County. So over time, we've accomplished those goals. That's the whole reason why the task force was set up, is to start reentry here in Palm Beach County. We've done that. Now they want to grow, which is another reason why, you know, the limitations of being under the Board of County Commissioners maximize it to 11 members, and they're already at 13, so they can't go past that. So the function, again, is to continue. No major decisions are really being done. It's really collaboration and coordination. There's not major votes that are being done on this board. So this is the current voting membership. As I mentioned earlier, there's 13 members, and they really wanted to grow it to be almost 25. And I know right now some of the concerns is that some of these boards are so big. And again, what's the real, you know, concern here? What's the mission of this task force? So we couldn't expand under the current capacity. So really, you know, we want to have grassroots engagement. We want to involve, you know, our subcommittee members. We want to involve our, you know, members that are our partners, and we can't do that in the current capacity. And then the vision, again, community-led, collaborative, inclusive, adaptive. And then again, from oversight to partnership, we're going to continue reentry services here in Palm Beach County. We have an adult reentry program as well as a youth reentry program that we provided an update back in July. So we're very effective. We have many partners that we work with, and we're going to continue to be transparent and even come to this board and provide the necessary updates as needed. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized. Excuse me, Commissioner Powell, I didn't mean to skip you. Did you have more comments?
I do have. Thank you for that, Madam Mayor. And the reason I wanted this presentation is because we had a conversation with regard to this, and I had some concerns, and you answered a lot of those. And our conversation included former public defender Carrie Howitt, and now current public defender Dan Eisinger is here. But also, you did mention that Mr. Starling was in support, and he would be here. And I know you've been here all day, so I did want to just reiterate or hear from both of you in terms of why this, and this is for not just for me, but for people who are watching, why this version of the board is what we're shifting to and why it's better. And Stephanie, you did a great presentation. Thank you for taking the time to do that. Thank you for briefing me prior to today.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Actually, yeah.
Well, so I've been in this world of criminal justice for the last 38 years. That's the first thing. So I've been part of multiple boards. So we have juvenile reentry boards and we have adult as well. So I'm currently the chair. I've been the vice chair over the last 3 years practically. So during the times that we've been here the last 7 years, we have evolved. We've accomplished a lot over the years through multiple grants. Obviously, Carrie was the chair. So her office was leading it, and naturally, she represented most of the defendants who returned home. And so with me being the chair for the last year plus, the progression. So with the actual participants, they've demonstrated limitations with being able to do some things they would like to do. So if you look at the current membership, it's all government for the most part. So we have to have certain people at the table, decision makers. So typically we have people that are delegated. You have people who are abstaining on many occasions when it comes to certain voting. But we have a room full of community people, particularly those from our reentry centers who wants to be more involved naturally. So certainly we having other grassroots personnel. So from a community, we need more community buy-in. So therefore, as opposed to government, like spearheading and leading it, at this state of our society, we're somewhat stagnant. We've been stagnant for more than a year plus. With government like taking the lead. So my thought is that the way that some of the other community collaborations have worked, I'll just use my side of the house for juvenile justice. We like for the community to take the lead as far as the investment, and naturally there are different voices and those who are truly impacted, because again we're getting paid when we're at the table. But when we have folks who are at the table who are truly invested, we're able to leverage other opportunities as far as community awareness, as far as people having competence and the intentions of those who are invested within their respective communities throughout this entire county. Now, we do know, when we look at our data points, there are certain areas of this county where most of the population come from. But as a county, public safety, they're not remiss when it comes to still being a part of the processes to ensure that we're supporting those particular people in those areas who need the support. So I'll just kind of stop there time-wise.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I want to thank Ms. Larson and to just reassure her and the rest of the public that this is going to provide, continue to provide the oversight, is going to continue to provide the resources and services to help folks coming back, whether juvenile or adult, and that it's really going to allow our community partners to work together and not have to, and I don't want to say burdened by the sunshine, but sunshine does create limitations for their ability to work together on certain projects and programs. And this will allow them to open up those programs for them. So, with the blessing of the Department of Justice, the blessing of the Public Defender's Office, I think it's clear to me that this is the right thing to do, and of all the participants that provide that. So I will be supporting that, and I think the public needs to feel comfortable that that really is the right decision. It's not taking things away, it's making something that's been working well even better for our community.
Commissioner Flores.
So regarding the reentry program, I think that's a good measure of a great community when you have people collaborating, coming together to make sure that we allow people to get back into, I guess in the military we call it civilian life, after you paid for whatever mistakes you have made. And I'm extremely proud of the work that you guys have done. I know I'm part of this committee, and I think Commissioner Weiss just alluded to it. Part of the problem is Dan and I can't have a conversation regarding anything that is either going to come before us or what's happening, because we're bound by sunshine law. During my first year in this committee, any conversation that I wanted to have, I really only can have it with our staff members. It's funny how I can talk to Todd and Stephanie about some of these things, but I can't talk to Dan or to Mr. Sterling, who have a ton of experience, who've been there and have done a lot of the work. But unfortunately, because it's under the county's charter, we are bound by sunshine. I think giving this opportunity to expand beyond that scope is going to allow this particular group to continue to work and to help our folks get back into regular life. So that's why I made the motion to approve this. I think this is the right thing, and I look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the brief presentation. And I think it was important to let people know because, it does say Reentry Task Force dissolution, which when I first saw it, I was a bit concerned. Why would you do this? But it's to be replaced with a different version and something that I'm excited to see what you come up with. And the meetings are open to the public, so that it's not like this is going to be something that is done behind closed doors with some secret club somewhere. And I'm sure you'll advertise that people can attend. And from what I understand, you're trying to broaden that and expand it and have more people involved. And so people can come and watch and participate in subcommittees. And I look forward to the 2.0 of this. So thank you for the work on this. I appreciate it.
So I had a first by Commissioner Flores. I had a second by Commissioner Weiss, I believe. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Next, we have 6H1, water utilities. Do we need a presentation? Do we have any cards? Good afternoon, Ali.
Good afternoon.
If you would briefly introduce everyone and start with a brief presentation, I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, Ali Bayat, Water Utility Director. To my right, Mr. Bonlara, my boss, and then Mr. Mark Jones, the attorney for the Palm Beach County Water Utilities. To my left, Mr. Rob Orit, Senior Consultant with Raftellus, Financial Consultant, and also Ms. Ebony Foreman, the Director of the Finance for Water Utilities.
So we were requested about 60 days ago in a BCC meeting to return back to the board to provide an update on the potential acquisition and overview and timeline of the Boynton Beach utility that was formally requested of the city of Boynton Beach. So we have done some very preliminary work and have put together some potential timelines and some phases as we do the proper due diligence, and we'll kind of get into that with you a little bit here. First off, the city of Boynton Beach, their utility overview, they serve about 125,000 customers. They have 150 employees, and then they operate two plants, one on the east side, west side. The east side is a little bit larger, about twice as large, 24 million gallons a day capacity, and then 10.4 MGD for the west water treatment plant. And then they work with the city of West Palm Beach in conjunction on their wastewater. Their operating budget today for water and sewer is just over $72 million, including stormwater, and they've got a capital budget of about $36.8 million. They carry debt on that utility, which amounts to about $7.5 million a year of payment for that $53.4 million debt, with retirements out in the 2032 and 35 range for that. Now, one thing we'll note to you is that they've implemented a 15% increase to their water utility and sewer rates for the FY 25-26 year, and then they're looking, as we move forward over the next 4 potential increases of between 8 and 11%. to just share with you an overview of just residential customer water and wastewater, their monthly bill comparison. We like to show this because the county is usually one of the most affordable when we put all these systems together. But as you can see, Fort Lauderdale, Riviera Beach, Lake Worth on the high end of this. Boynton Beach outside the city limits is kind of right in the middle on that blue line at $82.33. And then you can see in that lighter blue, that's about 3 lines down from that, roughly $65.83. We're right there at about $67 for a single family, but then we're below that line for our multifamily of $57.48. So you can see that range of between 51 for an average 5,000 gallon consumption for a home. So we looked at Boynton Beach's current 5-year capital plan, and this is something that we're going to have to do a lot of deeping into, but this shows you a 6-year overview from FY25 to FY30, roughly about $466 million. A large bulk of that is in FY28 on their water supply and plant improvements when they have to go into some of those facilities and really get into those structures. We obviously need to do a lot of work to verify some of these numbers and then to see what other issues that we might need to address, either because of lack of capital that's happened, expenditure, or other issues related to PFAS and other requirements that have come down to us recently. The acquisition phase overview, and this sort of gives you like a 4-phase of what we're looking at. The first phase would be a financial feasibility that we would really look and dig into these numbers. We have gotten a lot of documents from the city of Boynton Beach that we've been reviewing, but there's tons more to review. We expect that's going to take another 60 days to really get to that point. We expect that after that, we'll probably come back to the board if you asked us to continue moving forward on this, to give you an update at that point as we look at whether we enter in that next phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 2 is about a 3 on the low end to 6-month phase where we look at outside legal counsel. Phase 3 is consulting engineers and financial advisors, and then phase 4 is closing. So you sort of see that this can be as quickly as a couple of months if you want us to do some real quick due diligence to turn it around, but probably somewhere between 12 months on the low end and up to 24 if we really get into some complications with the system itself. So just to kind of give you a breakdown as we move along in phase 1, like we said, really getting into those specific costs, some of the city debt retirement, analyze a lot more of their financial documents, visit more of those facilities to kind of eyeball them and get some better understanding of the condition that they are in. So we think that'll take us another 30 to 60 days to do that. And we've engaged our consultants to do some of these phased work. So just so you know, each of these phases has somewhat of a cost to it. Doing this first phase, is probably around $50,000 or so to really get into those numbers and do that. When we get into the next 2 phases, it gets a lot more detailed and gets a lot more into the weeds on a number of these items. So phase 2, we have our legal outreach and valuation structuring. We'll work with our legal counsel in the county attorney's office, also look at any other specialized legal counsel that we may need to consult in order to understand more of the legal side of acquisition of a facility such as this, more executive and BCC outreach in terms of term sheets that we would review under those circumstances. Again, data requests to the city where we would be looking for a lot of different information just to understand where there might be lack of data that we don't have. Our systems are very sophisticated in Palm Beach County, and there's a lot of technology going on that. Not every system is quite like that, and every operational plan is quite like that. So it does require a little bit more digging to get to that point, and then looking at more of the formal appraisals and understanding what the true dollar costs are, the valuations here, and what the future needs that we have going forward. As we get into stage 3, this is more of your detailed getting into the engineering side, the operational side, the financial due diligence, understanding the real conditions of the plants and those underground infrastructure. And then if that is something that we come back in that phase and the board wants us to continue, we would go to final negotiations and closing on that. So this is the outline that we wanted to provide to you today, that we've put together, and we're really seeking board direction from you of whether or not you want us to kind of continue entering into that first phase, come back to you again after that, and then report on what might be the next phases after that if you want us to continue digging into the potential acquisition.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
When you did the cost comparison, are we looking at that Boynton outer service areas where they're like at 87, 82, 33? Is that what they're looking at us perhaps taking over?
Yeah, so Boynton Beach, they do have two rate structures. In the county, we do not have. It's all the same for Palm Beach County. So the in-city is about $65. But when they are outside, they charge for the same $5,000, $20 more.
Okay, my question is, are we looking at taking the purchase of everything or just the outer?
We're looking at the entire utility at the
Entire
moment,
infrastructure.
and we'll be able to break it down into the different components of it as well as we look at that. But the request was to look at the entire utility.
I would be in favor of continuing our due diligence.
Okay.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. Did you say the next part, the due diligence, is like 1 to 2 months, 30 to 60 days?
It's about 60 days.
Okay, yeah, I'm in favor of continuing. And you've been in conversation with the city, obviously, throughout this process, and they understand the timeline as well.
We have, and we shared with them a draft of this as we presented it, so that they could present it to their administrative, team, and share it with some of their commissioners as well. So they've had this for about as long as you've had this presentation, maybe a day before. We were just trying to get some feedback from their staff, but we've had one-on-ones and in-person meetings and on-phone meetings, and they have been sharing a tremendous amount of data and documents with us, and that's going to be a lot of this next phase of digging in to more of those documents.
So what does this board, or what should we expect after this next, the phase 1 of this, when you come back? What should we expect?
What's going to happen? They passed their sniff test from the technical perspective, engineering, operation, all that stuff that we do usually in-house. So it's doable. We can take it over if things come down. The next 30 to 60 days is all going to be the financial evaluation of the value of the utility. And that's going to be the real conversation that are we going to really be able to do the deal or not.
Okay. All right, thank you.
There's no more lights. You clear in your direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great one. Does anyone have any district appointments? Commissioner Flores, you're recognized. Take your time.
I saved it so good, I forgot what it was. Can I do it under commissioner comments?
We will come back to you.
Thank you.
Do we have any administrator comments?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff recommends motion to receive and file the updated board directives. Thank you, Madam.
I have a first from Commissioner Weiss, a second from Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 5-0. Anything else, Administrator? Thank you, sir. County Attorney?
No comments.
Thank you very much. Any direction from the board? We will start with Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. On behalf of District 1, I would like to request an off-site proclamation declaring December 13th, 2025 as Palm Beach County Medical Society Day.
I have a first from Commissioner Weiss, second from Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And on behalf of District 2, we are requesting an off-site proclamation recognizing the 25th anniversary of the DeVos Blum Family YMCA of Boynton Beach.
I have a first by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Yes, I would like to appoint Adriana Gonzalez to the Sporting Commission and Jordana Arias to the Planning Commission.
Thank you so much. Any comments?
No, we did our basketball outreach yesterday, so if you see a little shiner, I caught a loose elbow. But no, I think it's a great way to connect with some of the folks in the community. It was great, and I had a great Thanksgiving with my family. I hope everybody did the same. That's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope to see everyone around. There's a number of tree lightings and Christmas parades and all sorts of events coming up all throughout Palm Beach County, and I hope everyone has we have another meeting before the holidays, yes? Okay, but I'll see you around.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're in the holiday season. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and is looking forward to the next set of holidays. And as Commissioner Woodward said, or Vice Mayor, I look forward to seeing everyone around as we make our rounds.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. My apologies, I made a mistake. I do have a board appointment. I am appointing Joanne Robinson to the Fire Rescue Advisory Board.
Thank you so much. I would like to end with thanking staff and thanking the board for another successful meeting. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Meeting adjourned.